Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. The Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, former governor of Lagos State, has been talking to us. They call him the super minister. He has three major sectors in Nigeria on his table to deal with. So we are asking what the party APC promised in 2015 at the polls and what they are doing 3.5 years. Do they deserve to be voted back into office based on their promises and what they are doing? That's get our attention tonight on the program. Thank you so much for staying with us. So we get to speak with an expert, an energy law expert, Dr. Yemioke, on the issues of power generation. I want you to hear his view so that you can respond to it, Honorable Minister.
I was intrigued about the undertaking that they were able to do 10 megahertz per annum, and that in 4 years of their first tenure, that will give us 40,000 megawatts. And I was like, one, that is not even realistic, but to take something extraordinary to do that. Even if they were not able to do that at the end of the day, that was what I assumed. I felt they would have been able to achieve something significant, like adding even 2,000, 3,000 megawatts. And as they were coming on board, we were waiting to see science, policy initiatives, legal issues, governance approaches, management issues, knowledge-based governance and engagement in the power sector that will push them towards realizing those objectives.
So you heard him there. I mean, these are critical people who speak in the industry. Dr. Yemioke is a popular voice within the power sector, especially within the energy law sector. His views there.
You know, I am a professional myself, and I must be very careful how I react to a fellow professional. But I think it's important that when you say people are experts, right? I think the expertise that you profess, does it relate to the problem that we have? And I think it's important. When you dig deep, he has featured on your programs many times. Let me say one thing. I think he lectures in Unilag. So that is one of the schools where I and our government are intervening now with a mini-grid to give them independent power. So if he had this expertise, why didn't he solve his own school's problem?
But he's a private person?
Just a moment. Let me finish.
Okay.
So the point that I'm going to be very careful and respectful of professions, but I think people must be careful also how they purvey knowledge. Now, that said, the other point is that it is easy to theorize when you do banking in school. Nobody teaches you round tripping. That's the real life. So you can be an energy expert. Nobody's going to teach you that there will be 800 containers of power equipment locked up in a port. Nobody's going to teach you that. So I've been to all the discos. I've been to at least 18 to 20 of the generation plants in the country. I've been to most of our substations, and I've been to our injection substations. So if you sit down in your living room and you are reading books, I read books too, but what's in the book is different from the reality. So in Ikotekpene, for example, all we have are community issues. That's not about the physics and the mechanics of generating power. The engineers can do the work, but the engineers are not trained to go and retrieve containers from the port. We did. In Zungeru, for example, construction stopped for 3 years because a lawyer injuncted the project account. We solved it. In what's Professor Bert Naji's project in Aba, they were in court for 3 years. We brought it out of court. So to profess some kind of knowledge about what happens in the classroom, that's not what happens on the power plant.
So is your government in shock about something that you promised and what you met on the ground? Is that what happened?
We are not in shock. What I am telling you is that we set very high aspirations and we will get there. And by the by, what I am saying to you today is that we have improved on what we met. And that is unarguable and unimpeachable. So, and we have done so in shorter time and with less resources. And we have done so managing a resource they have now privatized. So all we can do is policy and directives. So what happened when we came in? They raised tariffs. When election was coming, they reversed it. We're dealing with that debt. So it creates a liquidity problem in the system. Now what happens? Gencos now say, oh, we are collecting only 20% of the power we are selling. We bring policy to create funding for embed the bulk trader who they created to buy the bulk power. So with the bulk trader agreement and the guarantees we put in place for embed, the Gencos now see that, oh, we will get paid. They produce more power. That's how we got to 7,000, partly, apart from the other issues. We met substations not funded. So we are doing that, closing down the deals so that TCN can wield the power. That has improved. We met distribution. They said they were owing them. They were MDA debts. That's what I met. You had that. You reported it. This government have paid with less resources. So let their sympathizers continue to weaponize the challenges they created. But the truth is that we are the ones solving the problems that we met. That's why we sought the office, because we think we are better than them. And we have proven that we are.
I mean, if you look at what we're getting, especially after the issues of privatization, years down the line, government intervened, gave monies to some of these companies to run some of these issues. Some of them had issues. On the ground right now, are you reconsidering the terms of engagement of some of the issues surrounding the privatized companies and the privatization issues on the ground?
You see, the fundamentals of privatization are good. Utilities, for example, are very good businesses to privatize. There are some things that the private sector will not take up. They won't take up building a runway or building a control tower. They might take on managing an airport building where there is retail and there's quick money. There's some things that privatization does not lend itself easily to. So the fundamentals are correct. And I think it's important to understand that there are choices here. And some people have said, oh, cancel it. I think, I'm persuaded by the fundamentals, I would have done a better job if I managed the privatization. We would have asked the discos to do an audit of their customers. We would have asked them to do an inventory of the assets. We would have asked them to do a CapEx plan. How many transformers, how many breakers, how many switch gears, how many poles do you need to replace? How much is it going to cost you to buy meters? Those are the basis upon which a proper privatization plan. So all of that is what we are retrofitting from the back, trying to catch up on, because it wasn't done.